Hello everyone, how are you? This is Alfonso Barrera. I am the founder of Hispanic Pro and your moderator for today's webinar, which is Defining Latinx. Thank you so much for being with us today, this afternoon. The Latinx discussion has been in the news, has been, in media, especially since we're close to Hispanic Heritage Month. Let's shine some light on it and see what our subject matter experts think about it and get their input. I want to thank today's panelists as they represent a distinct set of values and experience that makes them subject matter experts in their respective fields and have taken precious time of their busy day to share their insights on the emergence of the Latinx experience. Dear webinar attendees, let's meet our featured guests. I want to begin by introducing Dr. Sylvia Martinez. She is an associate professor at Indiana University and co-author of the book, Understanding the Latinx Experience, Developmental and Contextual Influences. Sylvia, welcome.
Thank you, Alfonso. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Sylvia. And I also want to introduce you to Jorge Valdivia, who is an art consultant and curator. Welcome, Jorge.
Hi, everyone. Actually, I go by Jorge, but a lot of
Jorge. There you go.
Call me George. It's okay. I go by Jorge, but hello, everyone.
Yeah, that's what I meant. We all want to be called what we want to be.
Yeah. Your point.
Yeah, definitely. So let's start off with just answering the question. What do you do? What is the work function of your position, Dr. Martinez?
Sure. So I am a faculty member at Indiana University in the Department of Educational Leadership and Policy Studies, as well as the Latino Studies program. So that means I'm jointly appointed across 2 units at my institution. And mostly I teach both graduate students and undergraduate students. And in the Latino Studies program is where I teach undergraduate students. In my research broadly, as I look at Latino, Latina, Latinx educational trends, I'm really interested in the high school to college transition of Latinx youth, but also as of late engaging with Latinx ethnic identity issues among undergraduates, but also adults.
I asked you to be on a panel because I feel that it's in the collegiate community that this conversation is being had. So definitely wanted your input and your insight on the Latinx experience. Jorge.
Alfonso. So I do consulting in the arts. A lot of the work that I do is primarily with Latinx organizations. I do work with the National Museum of Mexican Art. I curate their Sor Juana Festival. I also do work with the Latino Theater, the Chicago Latino Theater Alliance. I'm a co-curator of their Latino Theater Festival, and I'm using those terms. The terms that I use are the terms that they use, that my clients use. So when if you notice that in certain instances using the term Latinx, and in other instances referring to the term Latino, it's because that's part of their mission. Just to be clear, so what I do with the Chicago Latino Theater Alliance is I co-curate their festival, Destinos Fest. And I also work with other organizations, mostly arts organizations, working to amplify the voices of the Latinx community and the LGBTQ Latinx community as well.
How do you define the word Latinx? Jorge, we'll start with you.
So personally, I define Latinx as a term that is gender neutral. It's inclusive, and I also use it in group settings. That's a term that I tend to use in group settings. I still refer to myself individually as Mexican, and I know that the more we talk about this, I think we'll notice that there's some research that indicates that we tend to still hold on to terms like Mexican, Cuban, so forth and so on. I'm one of those. So, but in group settings, I've come to realize that it's important for us to use terms that are welcoming to people who might not fall under the gender binary, right? And so to me, that's what Latinx means, and that's how I use it.
Great. Thank you, Jorge. Dr. Martinez.
I use it similarly to Jorge. So I I use it to be inclusive, particularly in the classroom, and to push against the gender binary that's suggested by the terms Latino, Latina. So I'm starting to use it more and more in my classrooms and on campus, engaging with faculty and students. Like Jorge, I actually don't use that term to self-identify. I identify as Latina. And then if students ask, we'll say of Mexican descent, but I use the term Latina myself.
That's interesting, Sylvia, because one of the questions coming up, is do we have to drop the other terms, how we self-identify, but it seems like we don't. I want to say thank you to everyone who joined us today. Thank you for our panelists and the people who joined us, as attendees. This was a great discussion and a discussion that's going to be continuing. Latinos, Latinas, Latinx, we're here to stay, and our community is growing, is flourishing. Right now, we're going through a global pandemic that is affecting the Latino community in the United States more than any other population. So we'll see you on the next one. Be safe and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.